Okay, we're out on Nonsuch Island with JP Ruja and Haley from BioQuest, and it just so happens it's the 20th of March, and today is World ReWilding Day, and Nonsuch Island is one of the earliest examples of rewilding on the planet. Of course, back then we called it ecological restoration and everything, but now it's phrased as rewilding. And this is one of the oldest ones. It's actually about 65 years old since it started this year. It's one of the longest sort of lasting ones, and among many other things, it's included the planting of over 16,000 native and endemic plants to reestablish a native indigenous forest cover on Nonsuch, whereas before this started, it was a completely barren desert island with only dead cedars and crabgrass and not much else growing on it. So everything you see growing around us now has been planted by either Dr. David Wingate, myself, or various volunteer groups and such, and my work crew. Of the many other projects that all went into the Nonsuch Island rewilding included the reintroduction of the yellow-crowned night heron to Bermuda from chicks that were sourced in Tampa Bay, Florida. The reintroduction of the West Indian topshell, which is now once again, after a century and a half of being absent from Bermuda, was reintroduced from the Turks and Caicos Islands, and now it's found island-wide in the intertidal zone. And the protection of skinks and the preservation of the only population that seems to be really stable in Bermuda right now. And the real centerpiece of the rewilding has been finally, in the last 20 years, the return of Bermuda's national bird, the endemic and critically endangered cahao, to Nonsuch Island, because for nearly 400 years, it was confined to 4 half-acre rocks like Green Island you see out there past the south tip of Nonsuch. So small that in a hurricane, they go deeply underwater. You have, they're 18 feet highest point, and imagine it under the impact of 25 to 30 foot waves during a hurricane. So we had no end of problems rebuilding these nest burrows, artificial nest burrows, and repairing damage after every hurricane. Well, we've had 18 damaging ones in the last 30 years. So I guess this is symbolic. This is the oldest cahao chick now, one of 40 pairs that are now nesting on Nonsuch Island because of a translocation project, moving chicks from those islands to these artificial nests on Nonsuch, and then taking over as the foster parent, feeding them daily, measuring their growth, and then letting them imprint on the island before they fly out to sea, and then waiting 3 to 6 years for them to mature and return. First ones returned 2009, 4 years after we started moving them. And the first chick was produced, name of Summers, after Sir George Summers, on the 400th anniversary of the Sea Venture shipwreck. So we didn't plan that, it just happened. It was serendipity. And now, 16 years later, we have gone from 1 pair producing 1 chick to 40 pairs producing this year, we think, about 24 chicks. So this project, I couldn't be happier with how the whole project is happening and how it's adding immeasurably to the Nonsuch Rewilding project. So happy World Rewilding Day, everybody. And let's take a look at our chick. Oh, boy, yeah, he's growing rapidly. He is the oldest chick. He was hatched around about the 20th or so of February. So he is a month old today, more or less. So it'll be very interesting. So he's only about a third fledged at this point, so he's still got a lot of growing to do, and he's going to get a lot bigger. Oh boy, here's another fat guy that's obviously been fed in the last couple of nights.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, still got a long way to go. He'll approximately double in size over the next month, and you can see how much longer the wings are now.
Yeah.
They're growing, they've turned from just being little ridiculous props to actually being used in balance. The chick itself is growing well. It's got a little bit of down. Stuck in his nostril. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet, Haley. Wait until they get really big in about another month, at about 50 to 60 days of age. He'll be approximately double or even triple the size and weight that he is now. So yeah, he feels nice and full and healthy, so it'll be very interesting to see what his weight is. I'd guesstimate he's close to 200 grams right now.
Yeah. He's huge.
He's a big boy, or girl.
1 month, yeah.
That's the thing, we can't really sex them or anything until just before fledging, because we do that mainly based on their weight, the size of their bill in particular. It really is a dead giveaway. The male's bill tends to be much thicker from top to bottom, and the female's bill tends to be quite long and thin, so it looks like a related species of seabird, shearwaters, more than a petrel. Well, yeah, it was well over 200, actually, well over. So let's see, 253, so that'll be 233 grams. Wow. So that is a very...
Chunky guy.
233.
Oh, I don't know. Chunky.
Chunky.
I don't know.
Chunky baby.
Chunky baby.
So that's R819 and 233 grams. Now, let's see the wing cord, and you'll see the difference that 2 weeks extra growth makes. The ones we've been doing are 24 to 26 millimeter. This guy right here is, let's see, 50 right on the head. 50 mil, so double the weight, yeah. So that's great. That's the first one to reach 50 mil. And remember, it has to get to 275 millimeter before it's ready to fly out to sea. So it's got a lot of growing to do. And if they keep getting fed as well as they all appear to be right now, they'll actually develop faster. That's the thing. The more they get fed, the quicker they develop. It's just more calories available to convert into muscle and feather and bone. Yeah. He's also in a very exploring mode. Yeah.
What's his name?
Doesn't have a name yet. When we start getting the school groups and everything in the next month or so out, what we do is it's become a tradition to name the cahal chicks, and so we give every group a chance to name one of the chicks and everything. And traditionally for the cahal cam ones, it's always come down to either JP's daughter or my daughter. So for the last about 12 or 14 years now. So it's nice. Okay, let's get you back in there.
You don't want to go?
No, I don't. It's so fun out there. It's nice and bright and such and warm. Yeah. Very mobile already. You can see the difference when they're really young. They just kind of sit there and peer around them and such, and they're not really mobile. But the older they get, the more of a handful they get. Okay, so we've been able to check all of the cahal nests over the last couple of days in this part of the colony. It's I think an indication of how fast this colony is growing, that it's taken longer and longer to do. There's so many chicks now. I remember when we had just 1 or 2 chicks and how excited we were, and that wasn't that long ago. It was only about a dozen years ago. So it's a very positive project to be involved in. We're used to hearing about terrible things happening with the environment and such, and government decisions on the environment, particularly in some countries at the moment. But when you're involved with a really successful project like this, where the species is responding so well to the management work that we're doing for it, it's a very encouraging and uplifting thing. And as a biologist, I look at it as a real privilege and honor to have worked with such a fascinating species that is still teaching us all sorts of things about the oceanic ecosystem. So happy World Rewilding Day to everybody from Haley, JP, and Jeremy out on Nonsuch Island, Bermuda, on a beautiful spring Bermudaful day. And everybody have a good one.